Good afternoon. This is Waking Up with Michael, and Dave, and you. I'm Dave. This is Michael, and hopefully you will be here for a lively conversation on what is happening in the world, things that you need to know, things that Michael Anthony is an expert in that you need to know. And you just need to know, hey, I'm excited because we've been trying to get this going, work the bugs out for the last week, and I don't have any more computer equipment to smash, Michael, so we have to do it, and we have to do it as long as it's here and working. So we did talk briefly before we went on, because the last thing you did on your morning 9:50 to 11 o'clock broadcast was mentioning Dr. Fauci may have gone into hiding. And I said to you, I want to know if it's the military via martial law or the tribunals, whoever is running us right now and telling Mr. Biden what to do. Did they take him and lock him up to protect him from anybody that might be coming after him? Is he sitting at Gitmo in a nice luxury suite where he may be forever? What have you heard?
I've heard the word being used as deflected. Here's what I could tell you, that how I analyzed what I got was from much data and information, as we all get. And you try to dot your I's, Dave, and cross the T's, do the best you can. And we're not always going to be right on the money, but I've said a lot that all can come true. And how I've come to where the reality is of what I say and have said is based upon basically the public helping me as well as you and others when we talk, and narrating through all the bullshit of where we are. And many things came to light to me. I can't say every single one. There's one who I have to, like, the same they would do for me. I have to guard them and their identity, but it's based upon truth of what we know was going on up at the White House when the boards were up, and there was videos out there of children being escorted out and so forth. The flags were down, and they were saying it was all under reconstruction and that there were different issues of matter that way. But what they were doing, the military was up in there performing an evacuation of what they found was tunnels that I guess were used under the Obama administration and more. I know I'm going off base with this right now, but this will bring us to an ideology of where and how this fits in the narrative. So they were just cover-ups of what was really going on up there. Although there was many truth and facts, explosions reported as small earthquakes and so forth, destruction and filling of tunnels with waters and so forth, to shut all these areas down. And that narrative was keeping a lot suppressed and keeping the bad elements like Kissinger, Gates, Fauci, Obama, who, again, as I said this morning, gave like $3.7 million of money for Fauci to basically have play money with to do and push the narrative of the COVID and whatnot, that now has brought to a different sector of light, because there's so many narratives and so many channels in this think tank that they use to put this whole element together. It's a fight back and forth, light to dark, religions versus war, biological weaponry versus cures, etc. And anyway, to get back to your main point, it just came across me through observation and using good mindset. And my gut instinct told me from everything that I got that the answer was right in front of us, that the military tribunal units were working. I also put some things up where we have key testimony witnesses from people who have verified that they themselves were in courts up there under the military tribunals that basically were witnesses to a lot of the HST and so forth, HT.
Is
And
it possible, not to cut you off, but I know I always do. Is it possible to get those people that witnessed it to come on, even if there's some way to hide who they are? It's just everybody hears a witness was there or someone was there. And I think a lot of people are at the point where they don't believe that anymore because they don't know or see who was there. Their mainstream media, when they turn the news on, they weren't there, but they're reporting it like they were there.
Right. All right. I got you. Okay. Well, yeah, there are actually podcasters out there that have done these interviews already. And basically you can find them on YouTube. There's at least 7 people. The one young lady in particular, though, is like somebody that you know, and I'll put a little bit more of a direction on that comment. I, as well as you, know a few people that do extractions and are involved in child protection good services of, rescuing these children and so forth. This is what this young lady did. Okay. Her story is that she basically has a group of people surrounding her. And just to go through this as quick as I can, they did extractions. They were called in under military advisements to go to a location and so forth to do some extractions. While she was there, a call came from the top telling the federal marshals to back off. And this call came from the White House, the new administration. They basically were saying, let everything go as it is, leave the situation. And if they want to do the extractions themselves, they can do it. And what I found out by this girl doing these extractions, and not only did the FBI also walked off, but 3 representatives from the FBI state, 2 federal marshals. They did the extraction. They did rescue the children. The children were not all alive. One actually died in the young girl's arms. And then her story kind of broke to the podcaster, which already knew her story. She influenced her to talk more about her story. She was actually someone who was trafficked herself for 10 years. And that's why that she had gotten so largely involved in this situation and the rescues and extraction of children being, trafficked throughout the United States and Mexico, because it doesn't just work one way, them in. It's also missing children 411 in America. If anybody knows about the 411 in America, what goes on here.
Okay.
So yeah, she was working both sides of extractions in ways. And we do know that, of course, there was a big major hand slap to get the good people who wanted to take care of this stuff out of there. But to give you a better enlightenment quicker, to jump ahead, because there's a lot to this story that I'm not even including, but I can only tell you it's a very tragic story, a very sad story, but with much happiness in the end. And what she had to go through, and with this child in her arms, to help him pass to a better place because she knew she wouldn't be able to save him. Her eyes in tears then starts explaining to basically the world of her story and the 10 years that she was being trafficked by guess who? None other than Joe Biden himself.
Okay.
At his own hands. At his own hands, where she testified over 100 times in a short period of days from the Joe's inauguration until now, and the transformation of the dual presidencies that had occurred, because Trump still is a legitimate president recognized through the Pentagon and the military branches of America, which, by the way, if we can just go there for a minute, I'm telling you, the militaries of all statutes are really, really in an uproar right now with where they're going. They basically want to create a foot soldier army of fairy tales running through the woods with guns. And that's the new ideology of the weaponry and the military of the United States. And how do you like those apples? And that is the truth.
Okay.
And we know that somebody in high command just got relieved of duty over a book that was written because of that. But anyway, getting back to this young lady and where we're at and the ideologies of how they're telling people to stand on, defund the police, defund the military, defund the good people of the FBI, defund the good people of the CIA, defund the people of the DOJ that are of all of the good. But this lady described in detail much and the surroundings of what she sat in, what she went through, videos that she was shown. So we do know that the videos that have come forth are the 10,000 hours of the Epstein videos and the blackmail videos of him and his accomplice. Okay.
Yep.
Careful. It's Epstein's okay to say, but if you say her name, then we could have a reaction here in the video. And I know we're on a private mainstream. Maybe it doesn't make a difference, but you know who I'm talking about.
I won't say the name because I'll talk to you when we're off air. If it's someone that I know, I won't say their name, because I just swore that I would never release her involvement. She's a fantastic person. I wish I could get her on any broadcast I do. Unfortunately, that person said that when they go live on quote unquote real radio, there are death threats and hiding, and it just becomes I wouldn't put anybody through that.
Right. And you can't. You really, right now, it's better to protect.
Right.
Share what you can. Give the truth as you know it. Make the best decisions you can. And I want to go a step further now. Fauci's name was dropped in that method of madness and another person's testimonies of the ongoings. But to get back to Fauci and how, and I think I kind of turned off the narrative of where I was going. So I'll just clarify it this way to you.
We'll kick it back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, but I'm not going to be able to stay in the same train of thought where I was going. But I will say this to you. Fauci, just like Bush, turned state evidence in agreement because the heat came on. And when he walked out of the questioning up in front of Senate, basically he was escorted into an office, from what I understand. And they told him he had only one choice. His choice was to give up all the information, give the truth. And he agreed to do so. And when they went to collect him and collect all his things, now I don't know of what steps of what took place, he was gone. He was gone. And what we do know that there was like about a week, 5 days to 7 days, somewhat of an involvement. I don't know if he had an ankle bracelet on and got it off. I don't know any of those things. But I do know that his agreement, just like Bush's was to turn, basically how we use the phrase in America, turn state evidence on a bunch of people.
Now, are you talking about GW or George Herbert Walker?
I'm talking about both. I'm talking about how it worked both.
Okay,
it worked for both the same ways.
The father was a CIA
operative,
right, at one point, and the way I always understood it down on my level is you never leave the company. So if you go,
well, it's not a government ran agency either.
Right. But if you're no longer at the company and you become president, you're still part of the company, aren't you?
You're still skull and bones.
Yeah. So
yeah, once you collect into this dark of what we learned, there's no way out of it.
Okay.
There is no way out of it. And they put that even in their own books of their religious beliefs and narratives of where this all comes from and why their push is so strong. This is just so deep, Dave. You know that. It's not one matter of politics.
No, it's very deep. And when you're down at my level, it gets so hard to try to dig up to get myself out, because the information is so overwhelming, which is why I think people appreciate hearing you kind of walk us through it.
Well, he was involved in the crimes of humanity of the century. He's the one that gave guidance to all these health people under the governors and all the people that worked in all these states of blue and whatnot that were corrupt and dirty, and facilitated how to basically start the extraction of the depopulation program of this whole situation.
Okay,
They knew how to create this fear mongrel that they created.
Okay, one quick interrupt just for a second. We are live on the Michael Anthony page here on Facebook. A little more difficult trying to get it into your group. I'm having trouble finding it. So if your sharing staff is around, they can jump on your page and share it. Share it right now. But it is on your Michael Anthony page as well. I haven't shared to that. I'm just having a little bit of difficulty behind the scene on my end getting it into your Taking Back America group.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do it a different way.
Okay.
Bear
with us as we kind of get everybody. We're just trying to get this out to everybody who may be watching, is watching, should be watching. There wasn't enough time to promote it this morning. Everybody knows that generally I'm on around 2 hours before everybody goes live, trying to get the word out to everybody. Michael and I, as long as this works, and Michael will let me have him. We'll do this weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 9:50 until 11 o'clock. There are other commitments at 11 o'clock, so we may be quiet for an hour. Boogie with the Bull will come on around 12 noon. It may be called Special Questions Facebook sometimes. And then hopefully we will get this that if Michael wants me to be a part of 10 o'clock talks at 8 o'clock, we'll do that. We'll keep this going. So everybody make sure you share it, you like it, you bring your friends, you invite your friends. And now I'm going to kick it back to Michael, and we'll continue where we were.
Okay, the best thing I can tell you is I will do my best to do 950 postings with you. I will do my best. We're going to make sure that we have all this technology stuff down pat.
Well, right now it's working, so that this is what it should. This is what it should be. As long as like I said, as long as I have you linked within that 15 minutes before we go live, we're all set and ready to go.
All right. So, did you tell me you were able to get through under Michael Anthony?
I haven't posted on Michael Anthony.
Okay, hold on.
I couldn't get it into the group, but as we discussed off air, I may not be in that particular group at the moment. So, but if you can take it from your Michael Anthony page and put it into that group,
I'm getting it everywhere, dude. I'm getting it everywhere. Okay. I put up a shared thing that will definitely put it out there. Whoever comes in, watches it, comes in. We got to respect people's schedules and everything else.
And it'll always be around in podcast form. As soon as we hit the end button, it will always be there. It'll be there on at least it'll be there on the Michael Anthony page. It'll be there on the Dave Gloven page. It'll be in some groups we'll mention at the end. Trying to invite everybody as we go. And okay, great.
I put a bunch of shares out there. We'll see, but it doesn't matter. Like you said, people will look and watch if they want to, if they choose to.
Right.
So jumping back just for a minute to make sure I had clarity. He was approached and basically put under pressure. I'll say it that way because it's alleged that he was arrested at that point by military tribunal officers who escorted him into an area where he signed documentations of agreement to basically turn state evidences on everything, or he would be right immediately then taken off to, you could say, I don't even think it's Gitmo. There actually has been a new place put forth now. I don't remember the exact name at the top of my head when you have so many things in your head, as we all do at this point in time, trying to share information.
Yeah.
But it won't be there. I know it won't be there. It was moving from the White House to make preparations for the 19th. I'm not going to say what the 19th exactly means, but I will say the United States of America, United States American Republic. And maybe that'll give a greater hint as to what the future will become at some point. I also want to say it has nothing to do with them just buying time by giving you a stimulus, but they're doing it to buy time to stop a change of events that are going to come hard, and their narrative will be. And Dave, I want to push this as hard as I can. People
push it hard. Please push it hard.
The people that might not believe in this preparation thing better believe it, because we are just right now being toyed with. Gentle slaps in the face of the plan of anything that they can do to stop Trump, the voices of America, who are standing the strongest right now over their narrative to control, take over, in any manner that it takes, no matter what they put the American people through. So do what I tell you when I tell you, and I brought this up 3 months ago. The next 6 months would be the most critical, and I think that is going to come into a very direct light, where if this final wake up that the military allows to get through, to where they start to perform 100% for the people, and that's what it takes. It's going to take the people and the most largest numbers and voices to have the military then make the final cleanup in the Capitol and outside of the Capitol, and in many states and many voting areas. And you're going to see a platform of over 200,000 indictments just scream across America.
Where do you put 200,000 people? I mean,
that's why that Gitmo was taken out of the picture.
Do you think it will actually go to executions? I mean,
I don't know.
That's part of something that I don't want to think of. But where do you take 200,000 people who have been basically screwing us and our government for a long period of time? Where do you put them?
There is a place already set up. Again, I don't have the name in my mind right now. I wish I could tell you where. It's part of the Good Nations. It's part of the Good Nations. I don't know if it begins with a U or a Y. It's in my head, but it just won't come to, you know how you get that coffee tween?
Is it like a Supermax where they're based, those people are just shut off from the world?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
And Sidney Powell has a lot to do with this.
Okay.
She's a key element and very well educated, and Nuremberg and all these other issues of where we're going and getting all the doctors and testimonies in many ways. But a lot of that has to do with what that's going to come out of Arizona and start to be like, a pinball machine action where that ball is just going back and forth. Bing, 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 bing. That's what you're going to see in all these states as far, but that's going to be under a different type of indictment process that they'll be going after, and they'll probably go as high as the removal of the governor's offices as well. But my understanding is that way. And I think Charlie Ward even spoke a little bit on this, and maybe Simon Sparks may even mention something in the past. And I'm not weighing anything of their voice to this or saying that they know more than you or I. We all share together, and that's what gives us our strength to be able to give good information to the public. But yeah, when that goes down, there's going to be a couple different measures. So these indictments and these things and processes that are occurring are going to come from different dispositions of the government and the strong attorneys who are pushing the narratives forth and proceeding to fight this corruption that it has occurred. So it's going to be a worldwide event, okay? But here in the United States, we are faced with, I believe, somewhere around 235,000 indictments. Now, will they all fall under military tribunal? I'm not sure. Are they calculating this number into other areas? That's the part I don't know. But I would say this. The governings of the states with the issues on the part that's going to be so important to create this main trigger. This is going to be, in my mind, the main trigger of the catastrophic events that will occur following. Because once this cat is definitely, as Trump always said, he knew it from the beginning, which he did. They had this so done and in place 2 years before it ever happened on what we're fighting now for the truth of the election. That's why he came out months before the election and even said they're going to get away with murder if we allow them to continue this. And that's why we tried to stop many judges and many governors from being able to change laws under elections. But again, back to the military tribunal, I don't have enough answers to that. I'll get you the name, where it's going on.
Okay.
I'll make that phone call. I'll get that information more lock-keyed into my mind. And that is already being set up to handle all these numerous and absorbent amount of numbers of people who will be transferred. And many has already happened. There are key small players who can go MIA and are never going to be missed that have already been taken, is my understanding. So there are key players in there. They're just low on the totem poles, ratting out the bigs.
Can Fauci be
there?
Well, let's just guess that Fauci's kind of a big fish. I don't really know. But can Fauci be more valuable to a military tribunal in the sense of turning evidence, what he knows, and then just being thrown in a cell and forgotten about?
I think the key element will be to hand him a gun with one bullet and say, you do it or we will.
Yeah.
You do it or we will. And that's always been an option in the trials.
Yeah.
The option for one to take their own versus them to take his has always been there and has happened. And that's something that, again, how valuable will he be? How long will they let him linger? But always understand, and as I always preach, if you take out the smalls while the top's doing their work, you're gonna knock down the whole system because there's no control left. So when you arrest the smaller people that don't make much of a difference, they're the ones that want their lives immediately back and will probably be given deals. So will all 200,000 be housed the rest of their lives? No. They will turn state evidence and they will rat out everybody's ass who needs to be ratted out. And that's how they're putting the icing on top of the cake here. All these little people are squealing on the big people, where the orders came from, how the orders came, and how they received the informations, which again, this is why people don't understand this big backlog of how long something like this takes. It takes forever. It does. There's information's pages full and the millions probably done and being pulled daily. And the amounts of the attorneys that have, devoted the past months and months to this and who are now working through an advisory, from what I understand, have been told that Sydney has much influence over because she is basically a military tribunal expert under laws.
Now, when all of that is done, when all of the paperwork is done, when all the prosecutions are done, when everything is done, is this something that we all at our level will have to be waiting until one day when Julian Assange and WikiLeaks decides to release to everybody? Or is it stuff that we'll actually get to see the unredacted material?
Well, Julian just pushed out a bunch of information recently. And he incriminated a lot of people with fact of what he was able to get and hack his through whatever, whether it was part of his team or another part of another team. And what's the other fellow's name that released this stuff years ago? And he was in protective custody in Russia.
The guy in Obama that did it, Michael. I can't think of his last name off the top of my head.
I see his face in my third eye.
Yep, I can see his face too. I just can't think of his. He left the country and ran away. Not the other guy,
David?
the Bradley who turned stuff over somewhere and then left prison as as not Bradley anymore.
Well, I can assure you, Trump protected these people for a reason with Russia. Trump had his hands in the protection of these people because he knew that they knew the plan. This is how most of the plan had came to light. People don't realize that, where it all came from. And that's why America was so ticked off about, protecting these people and housing them and whatnot, and not allowing the United States to have them back and whatnot. But Trump was able to get through and make deals with everybody and keep them safe and get all their information. But just days ago, I believe, WikiLeaks came out and did a pretty big drop on some things that I was going to talk about tomorrow, and I didn't want to really get into that largely today.
Okay.
Because it was just something of a big, huge point, a platform of information that would really,
Okay, then rather than jump ahead to what you're going to do tomorrow, because I know that you always have a lot of work that you're doing in the prep, John Hall brings up an interesting point. He said he heard the other day that our income tax returns have not come yet, and the reason is we're being punished for bad-mouthing the Democrats or anything they don't like that has happened before Biden. Any truth to that or opinion that you have either way?
I know if you didn't vote for either, the checks were released.
Okay.
What does that say?
That
if you voted for neither and you have no voting track, checks went out to you because they figure you're one of the lowlifes in America.
Right.
But again, no, I know other people who have received them as well, at least claim that they already got their income taxes. Are they behind? Is there still a lot of disruption in how the government's working? And now just getting back, allowing some of the employees who I don't believe were ever off a day in their life. I think they were just told to stand down what their jobs were. Yeah. But I do know unequivocally, without doubt, checks are being processed daily, and unemployment now, especially in Pennsylvania, is getting caught up because here in Pennsylvania, there was 300,000 that never even got a first check from the first part of the unemployment pandemic issue. 300,000 never got a dime from the unemployment that they had entitlements to. So there was a lot of stand on. There was a lot of bullshit being delivered to us that the systems were bad and now the systems are going to be good. So I'm just saying that to hopefully help anybody in Pennsylvania that has been waiting, that there are things really happening. I know that there was like 1,200 new employees added on to take phone calls. A whole new system was put in place, which I don't know why they did that. They had a new system in place that was never put in place. But that's the government, and that's our tax dollars. That's how they see fit to run and control systems of the United States, even in states, independent states like Pennsylvania. But no, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If somebody needs their money, I get that. I would just suggest to make phone calls and see if you can find anything out through your state legislator, because they do have contact information where they can get online twice a week and they can track your money.
Okay, it does bring up another interesting point. They're talking about more new stimulus checks.
Yes, mid-June. Mid-June.
Are they just attempts by the Biden regime to keep us in line by hopefully having us think that they're, as long as they're throwing money at us, it's a good thing? Yeah. When and if the tribunals put Mr. Trump back in, is that stimulus lifestyle going to stop?
Oh, I would think you're going to see the whole world do a 360. Because when Trump comes back, it's all business. And you're going to get with the program or you're not going to be part of the program. And then there'll be a different separation. You think we have one now between the people of humanity who are going to live through these vax versus the people who haven't? People are not going to no longer be able to control the government, the defunding of the blue, and all this stuff. And basically, you're going to see an all stop as a cease and desist order has already taken place through a signature of somebody telling that they want the VAX now already to have stopped. And Canada released paperwork to this effect that came directly out of the United States to give people their lives back, indirect, good direction, and all halt on the vax or face consequences. Now, this has all been released through the Canadian government.
Okay.
So that just tells you if it's coming from America, it's not coming from who? Biden. Who did it come from? The 19th.
Yeah.
The 19. Which I've already said to you. No longer the United States of America, but the United States of American Republic.
Okay. Now,
I can't hint you any better than that.
Okay. But so then the question that comes up in my mind, if everything is going to be to support all those of you that did not get vaccinated, for lack of putting it better, those of us who did are out on our own all of a sudden, or
no, you're gonna see a higher grade of equality, which we had before this.
I mean, I don't know what they put in my arm anyway. I can still question that just like anybody else. But, for all I know, like you said before, it could have been a vitamin B1 shot. It could have been,
and we don't know because they're under the regulations of protections.
Right.
And that's the whole narrative of it. Why are so many in Europe? Why did they have 10,000 deaths in 3 days? But in America, we didn't have that. But we did see, maybe that was misrepresentative narrative information. But we know for a fact, unequivocally, that the death amounts were that high in a very short period of time. And now, even in your state, children accepting this vaccination had 16 to 18 cardiac arrest issues.
Yeah, that's still. I don't know how long that will last. But Governor Lamont was from the beginning.
That's all true to fact.
It very much is, and from what I understand, they have suspended it being given to them at this time. And the only thing I can see is that at his daily press conferences, Governor Lamont is apologizing profusely, which doesn't do any good if your child got sick or died.
Right.
But their goal was to get everybody back into the classrooms. Doesn't make it right.
No. But, and as we know, Dave, it's always been documented from the highest levels that children don't need this. It's a narrative of push for numbers, for something much more evil and sinister of a narrative of their ideology of where they wanted to put the place of the United States citizens of America and a depopulation amount of numbers. As I always tell everybody, why do you think so many millions of dollars were placed on the Georgia Guidestones? It wasn't for nothing.
Right.
It was not for nothing. But again, now not even in your state of Connecticut, but Michigan has reported 16 more casualties of issues of cardiac in male. These are male gender. We're talking about only having these issues from this shot. Now, I don't know if it was which company, and I don't even want to talk their names because you know what, I just can't I can't even stand to mention their names anymore with where we are with this. But you have 16 more children that way. You also have swollen genitals. You have skin problems. You have blood clotting. You have numerous amounts of miscarriages now. We are finding out in depth just how terrible this is. And that's in the short end of the stick here. What's going to happen on the long end? We don't know. We don't know the long narrative because, yes, why? No testing. Bottom line, no testing. So we don't know. It's all experimental without a doubt. There's much more people out there better educated than me to talk about this, but I can only give you facts and figures that what I know are truth that came from people of truth who are fighting this in a much larger capacity than you and I ever could even imagine. And they are just trying to do their best to get the word out there. But all I can say is arrest Gates, arrest Kissinger, arrest Obama. These are the key elements of what we need done in America, and I foresee it to come. I do. But again, we need all these smalls that are being taken over there in the military tribunals to spill their guts and give the information, because the little people don't want to go down for the big people. They were following in a lot of ways instructions, and they were doing it under a paycheck, being threatened that they wouldn't have a livelihood. They wouldn't, and probably much more in greater ways as we see it.
But
So we're just in a bad place, David.
But in the grand scheme of things, you can only say I was following orders and getting a paycheck for so long, because,
Right.
At some point you either buck up and accept you did what you did, and you did it for whatever reason. And if your reason was to get a paycheck and it was wrong, then, you don't get a paycheck anymore, and maybe you swallow a bullet. I don't really know.
Well, I think, the ones that deserve to get the gun handed to themselves with their where they make their own choice,
Should we broadcast it live here on Waking Up?
We are broadcasting live. We're worldwide right now.
But should we?
Know it.
No, I was just going to joke off, although it's really not a joking matter. Should we make sure that we're broadcasting those that get handed the one gun with one round? Should we broadcast that live?
Well, we already did, right?
Well, we broadcast live that we think it's going to happen, but I'm talking about when it actually happens. Should we have Mark Zuckerberg on with us doing play-by-play as it actually happens here live on Facebook? I don't think you'd ever see it on Facebook. You'd see it everywhere else, but I don't think you'd ever see it live on Facebook.
Well, you do know that we have a whole new satellite system in place. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We have a whole new satellite
enough with it,
system.
but yes, I do know what's up there.
Okay. What, who, how, when they decide what the American public should see and know is really never, I don't think, any of us are going to be able to even get close to a date or time on that. I will say it's not within arm's reach right now. And that's why I tell everybody, prepare for what's to come as this gets much worse. Any event to where we get closer to success, they're going to push a narrative back to us that gives them their idea of where they're going to keep their strength, even though their strength is really weakness. And that's the truth. So, when you have weakness against strength, a positivity, the light's stronger. It just is. And my one of my favorite phrases has been, without darkness, light would have no meaning.
True.
Stay strong in the light, people. Stay strong in your faiths, your prayers, whatever they are. You'll get respect from all of us who are good. But I do think this. If President Trump was to walk back in, although there are scholars who say that is impossible, Sidney Powell seems to think it is very possible. She studies these laws probably more than people looked into them. But if there is a way and he walks in, the 360 will happen. I think you will then see an immediate, within 24 to 48 hours, peace on earth, because the strength of the military will reign supreme to keep order in every way and to do their job and to clean up what needs to be cleaned up in front of the American people's eyes.
If he
That's
doesn't
where I
walk
see it.
back, I got to cut you off for a second. If he doesn't walk back in and resume what is left of the term that it would be proven he won, then what happens? Because he did win. I mean, you have to compensate the man in the grand scheme of something. You have to compensate the man not for the money that he didn't get, the 1 point something million dollars that he didn't get for the time that he didn't serve the 46th term, but he was elected. So how does anyone
again, we're again,
you and I and say
it's
you don't
laws,
get
Dave.
anything, you just go in the history books as being elected but didn't serve?
Well, I guess it will fall under what the Constitution reads and so forth. And what the laws are and were set forth on the original, under the original Constitution. And that was only a one-word change when the Constitution changed, when the other side sold the United States out to the British, okay? There was only one word change. So there's a lot of facts to grasp on. Now, let's just say this is a key element, and I've spoken about this. And I have, and I know you listen to a lot of what I say. You know, you've been a warrior behind me, and I appreciate you. But let's say that Trump cannot just walk back in under the laws. Let's just say that, take him out of place, take him off the whole plate. Let's say he has to wait to 2024. Well, then, in my mind, even though he is an acting dual president with all the codes, remember, he is controlling the codes that keeps America safe right now. No matter what anybody thinks, he is doing that. And let's not forget why they want the 51st state in Washington, D.C. to become the District of Columbia of the United States of America, why they're doing that. It's because Trump can stand on that land and laugh in their face because it doesn't belong to the United States. It belongs to the District of Columbia of America Republic. There's been a whole change in narrative there. So where does he stand on a legal ethic to walk back in? I don't know. But if he does not, it will be then have to be looked upon with all of our 4- or 5-star generals, and they are going to have to get together under the good of what is going on and the moves made and decisions through the military tribunals of the good nations who are all involved to say which military officer will then control the final cleanups to give him a clean slate to walk back in to do a job. Because you're right, there is a point of ethics here, a conflict of interest. And the first thing they're going to put on Trump is he has it out for these people. And why shouldn't he have it out for them? He's been picked on since day one. He was the best thing going next to apple pie and chicken on a Sunday after church, wasn't he? No, The truth of the matter was that was his milestone of who he was. Right. The minute he announced presidency, he was dirt of the earth.
Right.
And he would never win. But he did. He did. And that's why we are where we're at. So will the military tribunal appoint that officer or then give the complete go-ahead? They're going to need all the information from everybody. But what's most important is, I think right now, is the military wants the wake up of America and the highest amount to see where the past 200 years of America have come from and landed up as we are now in this global cult of a government that we have controlling us. They are not people of America for the people. They are for all of the negative of their mindset, of a religious ideology, of satanic terribleness that none of us could ever imagined. And surround yourself by the armor of God, people, because that's where we're going, and we're going to run into some very heavy complications in the final minutes of the next few months, 3 to 4 months, I'm going to say tops, that's going to put us into an altered state of light of a new America, because it's going to happen. It's all going to come out, Dave, without a doubt. It's just, the thing is, how do you put a date and time on things that are so large and that our hands, the tidbits that were fed or put into our hands are just not big enough to give the biggest judgment call of anything, of satisfaction to people who need it. It's
going to be too overwhelming, I think, for people.
And that's the whole key element. That's their concern. People will be killing themselves over it.
You just said a minute ago, and it made it sound like that if Trump is the president of the United States right now and Biden is the resident who thinks he is the president, are they both walking around with the launch codes?
No, only one. Trump.
Okay.
Trump has all the codes. They were never given to him. Why is that an important factor? That's a very important factor. Okay. You have someone who's able to give executive orders, but you also have someone who runs the country under the most crucial elements or anything that could ever possibly happen. It won't be Biden to make those choices. It will then be in Trump's hands. And they're going to push that narrative in a way, but still try to protect themselves against us. What this next fear factor will be, one of the things to me is the taking down of the power grid, to make all of humanity suffer in some way for a long period of time. But again, it is what it is. Trump is the man, the key element behind that part. And you have dual presidencies here. You really do, which means you have a different scenario here for the military. And that will take you back to, I think, the 2018 and 2020, where it was updated, where crimes of certain humanities and certain things that people have done to humanity, whether it's through suffering, touching, sexual conducts, and more, will be handled with the utmost best ways of the law enforcements that we can offer with the protection of the military. So Trump, at that point, in my mind, did sign the paperwork and put a partial martial law up to the military to handle it all as he stepped down and that. Because we know it in the circle of Trump. We know in his last final days up there, the narrative of him, what he wanted to make sure of who his friends were and who they weren't, was to let them bleed out in their souls where he stood in this fight, in this game. And they all told him the same thing. Mostly every planted person from the Dems that was put in that place, because they were so widely out there, he couldn't even pick good people to bring him on board.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry, my phone started going off. It made me look down. So these are the issues of where we are. And I think where we truly are, you wouldn't have military tribunals working right now if this note that everybody was so worried about getting signed was not signed, because it was signed. How do we know that? How do we know that in ways? Because we have government enforcements going on. You know, we really do. We have places where the National Guard is actually patrolling, but you're not seeing it on the media. But if you look up what's going on in certain states, how things have calmed, why BLM has now stepped down, and other constituents out there and other political arenas who support the negativity of the left side government. You know, what happened with George Soros and the foundation over there? And what is it? Miramar? Where they took down his whole foundation, took all his money and whatnot. Yeah. These are just some of the reflections of the military tribunal working. This is the part that I don't even think concerns or has a party to the UN nations. I think it's above and beyond that, and they broke their ties with them as well. Because if we ever went under some forced effort of military issues here, where our own military went against us, then the United Nations could bring in a whole different army against us. So when you have all these different narratives and positions of who, what, where, when, and how, and what can happen, the picture's just so large, the think tank is so big, the ideas are so big, you know, this puts us in this spot. And
are we still a part of the UN?
I don't have every answer for you guys. I don't by any means at all. But I will say this, stay strong the best you can. I've been talking too much. You need to talk.
That's okay. Are we still part of the UN?
I'm told that we're part of the UN when I heard, but not in the parts that you would think. What did that mean? I don't know. That's not my part of expertise. I think we're allowing them to be opinionated, but we're telling them to stay. I think from the American military side, they've been asked to stand down and show support to the global effort of what needs corrected. And many places have agreed to do that by not, joining forces and giving notice to forces to be on some type of standby against anyone in particular nation. And if you think about that, how that makes sense, there is sense to it. If you go back further and look at all the other takedowns that have happened, the House of Windsor, the Queen, and now the Queen steps down. Okay. Just all the different variations of everything, the Vatican. You know, the seizures of all the gold and all the money and cryptocurrencies. It's just pretty much crazy. You
Do
know,
you see Netanyahu stepping or being tossed aside in Israel and Hamas?
I'm sorry, repeat that again. You broke up.
Do you see Netanyahu being cast aside in Israel and Hamas flexing its muscle and perhaps taking over?
I see a step down in Israel to come. I think there's going to be a little change in how the governments run there, and I think that's being provoked by the money that Biden's feeding into the countries over there. You know, he's not going to be for the capital and Jerusalem and Israel. He's going to be for all the outside out, everybody that wants that great, what they consider their gravy land there for whatever reason and purpose that is. They want to narrate and hold that for some reason close to them, like it's a key element, a part of their narrative of this world crisis and world issue of the lie of COVID. You know, and this is all just parts of bits, pieces, and parts of it.
Is Biden the buffoon that he really appears to be in front of the cameras? The guy who tripped on the stairs walking up.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Or Jill carries him on one arm to make sure he doesn't fall down. I know it's an out of the blue question, but it just every time I see him on TV. It's just one day it looks like he's having a great day and he's listening to the voice in his ear and he's saying exactly what he wants them to say, or perhaps it's a Biden double like Saddam Hussein used to have, claimed he had doubles. Is Joe Biden the buffoon, really the buffoon that he appears to be, or is Joe Biden just a brilliant man that none of us realized is playing the part of the buffoon very well, but he really is not the buffoon that we all think he is?
How about if I said something different to you, like don't expect all to be dead that you think are dead? Okay. I wish I could really answer. Here's what I can tell you. I know in Hollywood, there were certain sets set up. I'm told that there were actors that came to me, not by, I didn't find this out on my own. I was told this information, not by anybody spectacular, great, coming from the Pentagon's head office, nothing like that. From people who analyze and do get leaks to them. Also in Atlanta, Georgia, a set that was done up to look like the White House. So with that said, who is this guy? Okay, could it be Joe? Is he that great of an actor? Or is Jim Carrey really doing something that
I've heard that theory kicked around before, that maybe it's Jim Carrey in front of a green screen.
I've heard that said several times. I don't know the truth to that part by any means, but I would say this: with technology as it is, they can improvise a lot. Can you improvise a no-face audience? Because most of his audiences are never shown.
Yeah.
Could it all be an act? Yeah, most certainly it could be an act. But I do know one thing. I think he's still alive and ticking. And the reason I say that is they don't want to put, in my mind, the military doesn't want to put their hands on him, because when they went to Trump, they wanted to overthrow Obama, our military. They wanted to overthrow Obama. They knew back then of this, what was to come and where we were at and what they were doing. And the military was very pissed off about it. And then shortly after them coming to that conclusion of a secret meeting of the military, which did occur, in fact, and the information is out there through the generals who have exposed it, went to Trump and got Trump aboard. So to me, when you have all this going on, this is so deep in time, so far back, and so far orchestrated in the best way possible that they could do it, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense to us on every aspect. So could you have a possible double winner or a triple? Yeah. Is Joe as brilliant as you think? I got to tell you, I don't think this is the Joe who we think it is. Not if you listen to the voice. Did he have hair plants and plugs? Possibly, because he didn't have no hair 40 years ago on the top of his head. He does now.
He's
But
the president
that
now.
doesn't mean
He's the president now. He's got to look pleasing for the cameras. No one wants to see.
money gets you everything, Dave. Money gets you everything. Even an island next to Epstein's island. Even an island next to Epstein's island.
You think Hillary Clinton's going to be left holding the bag for Epstein Island? I mean, I honestly
got a lot to answer for.
I honestly think that whatever her name Maxwell is, I think she's just gonna be swept aside and sit in a jail cell for a long time, just as because she's the only link that is left to him. But do you think that other people that way above her that were more responsible and more involved, you think they'll be the ones who drop? I mean, whatever money was there will probably be divided up among all the people that sued him. And there'll probably never be enough to make up for anything that went through that happened there. But I don't know where I was going to go with that, but
we all lose train of thought. This is just overwhelming when you live it every day. I do that too. I'll be on something, but then again, sometimes I have to change the narrative of how I want to answer something because I'm saving something bigger, or a gut feeling is something bigger that I'll be able to put together better in a couple more days. And sometimes we look for and search for things, and then you get lost in your own soul and your mind. And there's nothing wrong with that.
In your searching for the narrative and the things you present on your various broadcasts, is Epstein and Epstein Island more involved in what is going on between Biden possibly not being elected president, Trump not getting to serve his term? Were Epstein and Epstein Island more involved in all of this than anybody thinks? Not just the human trafficking and all the things that took place on the island, but was he more involved than we are, than like people down in my world are involved or understand at this point?
If you ask him if he was involved in the government, I'll say he could influence a lot of people.
Okay.
And the thing is this, that you got to think about. Why was it so important to create a black book against all these people and politicians? What was the purpose behind his mindset, or whose mindset that was controlling even him, to make sure that there was enough information to control the factor of the people of the United States government and how they have? Because I guess it was people were easy victims to fall into corruption. Let's face it, we're all human, and part of our genetic makeup is companionship and sexuality in many ways. I mean, it's just true. It's in nature of who we are. But how they use this blanket of sex to hide and incriminate and to blackmail, I'm sure he had much influence. If somebody somewhere else said something to him to pass it on, could have been part of the richest of the rich, the quadrillionaires in this world. And we did have quadrillionaires in the Felician families and the Khazars. We're spending trillions, and they're worth quadrillions,
right?
Or are they? Because the QFF is killing them. But again, where does all this landscape and how was all this put into shape? I don't know. But asking me what you have said, government influence, I'm sure that is very credible. How it could have been used, I don't know. Because what we do know is he was an enabler. He was able to keep them into this dark cult. What was the true narrative about that? And I say that's when the controllers, when they don't even need you, they will get rid of you. Just like the United States government right now on the left. When they get tired of someone and they don't want to, and Como's going to be next. He's going to be one of the elites that's going to come down without a doubt, and that'll be part of the down trickle with the election side. of all these blue state governors, of the crimes on humanity. So, yeah, the connections on how all these dots are, it's just so big and it's so versatile to keep everything into some type of significance in our minds. The weights of everything are immense, and the pressures of everything are immense. Life as we wake up every day with that first breath again is immense. And we're fighting all these narratives. And that's why you have your little blackout moments, just as I do. It's not just age, it's overthinking, it's over compromising. But I'll finish by saying, Epstein, too much has happened there. And I have a lot of questions there. And what I said when I started out this little second segment of your question, when I said, don't believe that who you think are all dead are dead, that could be a key element as to what I said.
Where do you see Hillary Clinton? You always see the memes or the kind of hint that if she ever gets nailed for something, she'll take down everybody with her. Is she able to take down a whole lot of people, or is she just talking the talk because she didn't beat Donald Trump?
Well, us deplorables don't have an opinion, remember? But I will say this.
That's why I have to ask you the tough questions every once in a while.
I think she's more powerful than Obama was in ways, because she was the deal maker. I mean, look at the uranium deal and much more. You know, she's the one that avoided the phone call in the middle of the night that could have saved those Navy SEALs, but she decided that weaponry to illegal countries was more important.
I always said that he made her Secretary of State because it was the one position that he could put her in that would teach her enough so that when it was time to run for president after his second term, she would be all set and ready to go. I don't think, looking back on it now, that Obama had any desire to see Joe Biden serve 8 years as vice president and become president. And I could push it back even further and ask, why did Obama even pick Biden? Or again, ask you, is it something he was told to do? Your vice president is going to be Joe Biden. So when something happens to you, or if something happens to you, Joe Biden is going to be our man. I definitely know, and I've said before, that Joe Biden to me was nothing more than a vehicle than to get a Democrat vice president into the White House who, when and if, however they made Joe step aside, whether or not it's the 25th Amendment or not, they have someone in there who they want, who's ready to go, that I don't believe they ever wanted Joe in there. And I think they're as dumbfounded as a lot of us, taking out the cheating that may have caused him to win, but I think they're dumbfounded that he actually won.
Yeah, well, you have that side too. Dave, I mean, really, we bring up a lot of good information. We bring up a lot of good ideology and thoughts of where, what, who, when, and how. My whole picture to this is the only thing that stands in the light for us is the truths of the despicable acts and criminal acts that these people have committed. And so, to answer your question, I don't know how to do that in the best way. There's too much to analyze, too much to get gut feelings on. In my mind, it's a gut feeling when I go with it. And for some reason, I've been reigning pretty supreme on things. Even, some of my terminology and names, how some bigger podcasters seem to be sucking up and absorbing some of my nicknames I've created, which is nice to hear because evidently my voice is being heard somewhere else. But I don't have direct information in any way to pinpoint that question down in the best way. But you have what you have. You had the layout that you have. We have the criminal acts that we have. And when you look at Clinton, and she sat there in that little it wasn't a kangaroo court session, but up there in Senate being asked questions and coming in front of different organizations of the government because of the corruption and the scandals and so forth. She sat there with a smirk on her face that she could have cared less. And if you look around her life, just to pinpoint her at, it's remarkable how many people commit suicide around her.
This is very true.
The power that was in her hands supersedes the vice president and the president in this country. He may have had a title, but I think behind the page, behind it somewhere, the big picture, she was in control of much more than the president and the vice president was. But I think the game plan is for a lot of these people is to get in and you're allowed to make money as long as you do what we're told.
Right.
It didn't matter how despicable you were going to be.
Yeah.
But now these people have to face the reality of their actions. And we're going to f them up, aren't we?
We're going to mess them up. Yes, we are.
And that's going to be our reaction to their actions. We are not going to stop. We are going to stand strong. We are going to do the best we can to fight through this. The armor of the universe is the light of the universe in my mind, and it's everywhere we need to be and stand in. Yep. And we will shine while they do not, and they will fail. And that's why they have hidden themselves in this darkness and this satanic shit and more and more. But, you know, again, these are people who did actions and made very bad mistakes. And it's all going to be exposed. And it slowly is. Information's, I have things on messenger groups that people don't. Messenger groups are pretty cool.
They are very cool.
I have 2 research groups that I'm affiliated with where information gets dumped. You can't even keep up with it. That's how heavy it's dumped. It's coming worldwide, globally, from so many different people. It's hard to even grasp, but we don't get bothered in Messenger. It's incredible. Right. But if you post it on Facebook and you're posting on your main page, well, you're going to jail.
That's right.
But if you use Messenger, you're allowed to do it. That's pretty weird.
Right.
So all I'm doing is showing you a comparison how you can get away with murder if you want to versus just giving information out.
The idea of messenger groups is a fantastic idea. I mean, we have 2 small ones affiliated with our group, but yeah, it is an excellent idea. I don't know if I agree with everybody who says it's not watched just like Facebook or everything else is. So I don't know if what you do in your messenger group is any more secure than doing it in your Facebook group. But the idea of having that as an option to your conventional Facebook group is definitely a plus. But maybe they're all playing us. Maybe we think it's all secure, and there's some guy at the end of the day when we all think we've logged out a messenger that does a screen dump and prints it all and somebody's reading it, but I don't really know. I've always said when Mark Zuckerberg and the big dogs in Washington, D.C. who think they run the show come looking for me, that I'm probably safe because I know how to admin a group, and that will probably keep me from being handed the one gun, one round, because I can moderate a group and I can co-host Michael Anthony, and I'll probably shut my mouth on that point.
Well, we might have to make you an Ed McMahon at some point.
It is always
Ed McMahon of America.
It is always a pleasure to have you, Michael Anthony, as we tried to do originally, waking up with Michael and Dave and you and whatever we may end up calling it one day is Monday through Friday from 9:50 to 11 o'clock and or later if it goes. As Michael does get busier and may not be able to do the morning, we will still keep it alive in the morning. We'll have Michael back as often as he can. I hope he's here every day. There is the 8 o'clock 10 o'clock talks program. I know that always gets confusing to people, but 10 o'clock talks is 8 o'clock.
That's only for the full purpose of upload. Not everybody sees it until 10 o'clock. It becomes official at 10.
Oh, all right.
See, the nice part about that, though, Dave, is for people to understand this. They can cut an episode anytime they want.
Yes.
So we have to make sure that it is seeable and viewable, and that's what gets it out there by the 10 o'clock.
Okay, now I understand that. So 8 o'clock, you can catch Michael Anthony with 10 o'clock talks, which I know is on the Michael Anthony Facebook page. It is in the Taking Back America group. It is shared all over by wonderful people on Michael's side, as well as those of us who watch it do our best to share it as well. I'm going to mention, just for the sake of mentioning, because I only have 3 cameras available when we do this, that Jack Alexander with the Jack Alexander Experiment is another wonderful resource that you should watch. It's podcasts. I don't believe Jack ever does any live anymore. It's all just podcasts, but Jack is a great guy, and hopefully from time to time we'll fill the 3rd camera slot if Michael wants that. Don't know what else I can tell you other than it is always a pleasure, and now that we got it working, I hope it will be an even greater pleasure. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to Friday. The 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock talks is up to you. If you ever decide you want someone there or sidekick there from time to time, yep, sure, great. We'll do it. I enjoy watching it more than I have ever thought about being involved with any other aspect of it. But that is always on you, because that has always been your realm. That's how I met you.
Is that how we did that, huh?
That's how I met you. I saw it in the news feed one day and started sharing it as much as I could. And I probably ended up in Facebook jail from oversharing. So,
yeah, you got to be careful. That's why we need these warriors out there. We need these warriors to come forth. Warriors need to come forth. They're the ones that are important that can spread the message. They allow us, but they suppress us.
Right.
And I don't know who watches over my shoulder, but you know what I talk about. I should have been pulled off of here a long time ago.
I kind of think in the grand scheme of things that Zuckerberg is no dummy. And I only say that he's no dummy in the sense that when the Justice Department came to him on this round of antitrust cases that I don't know if have made it into court yet or will ever make it into court, he sent the Facebook lawyers to the Justice Department and had a sit down with them where he said, I will license the Facebook code. That's everything you see on the Facebook screen right now. I'll license the Facebook membership, so you'll have bazillions of members when you go live. I'll even give you access to the Facebook advertiser base, and I'll probably even give you access on separate servers, but access on the Facebook global network, which means you'll be just as big. You'll be a rival to Facebook, but you'll be able to reach and do everything that we can do. And the Justice Department said no. And the only reason I can figure they said no is because why? If you got 1 billion members on Facebook watching, sharing, doing all this stuff, why would you want to create a rival that 500 million are going to go to? Why not just keep everybody here? Plus, I also think part of the controversy of they don't want this group on Facebook, they don't want Republicans, they don't want conservatives, they don't want patriots, they don't want this. In all honesty, I think that's total BS too. I think when there is controversy that gets Facebook out in everybody's mind on global media, everybody comes to Facebook just to see how it is. So I really just think they put up with us to a point. If you get too big, and that may be 50,000, 100,000, I've seen groups that claim to have 1 million. When you get to be over that and you try to start flexing your muscle, then maybe that's when they say, you got to kind of back down and play it our way. I don't really know. My groups, as far as members go, have always been so far under the radar that when they do things to me like mandatory post approval for every member in my group, it just makes me think for a minute, well, hey, maybe they've noticed me, so I must be doing something right. if they notice me. But I know up in your world that, yeah, you need a large organization of people watching, inviting people to watch, sharing the broadcasts when they're on, even sharing it in podcast form if people have missed the live. That is definitely a major part.
Yeah, yeah. Well, evidently, in ways, we have a greater military than anything walks on this earth. We have a military of the light, a military of the good, and it's gotten us this far, and that's a good thing. Because what you got to say about things as they are and what and how they handle us, it's not good. Because if it smells like shit, it looks like shit, it is shit,
Probably
and they
tastes
are
like
shit,
too.
and that's how it works.
Yeah.
All I can say is this, in the best way I can. I don't know who's looking out for us. I don't, but I can't say this. I want to let everyone know out there that's on my friends list, in the groups. The message of the word is strongest with you and being involved. What you talk about, what your ideas are what gets us forward, what brings us forward. The importance of what we can use from you is not to become more popular, but to become popular to what your thoughts and your voices are, to restore your voices of America, to never let them infringe upon your right to freedom of speech. And what I've always said, words are powerful, but they come from somewhere. They're not suppressing speech, they're suppressing thought. They're trying to shut you down as a human being, to low level you as a bottom feeder to them. Do not allow that to happen. Do what makes you feel good, live the way you must live, and help us as much as you can get the word to keep going on. We enjoy what we do, right, Dave?
I enjoy it very much. Just like if anybody wants to see how much I enjoy it, go to the Dave Goldman page afterwards and watch the Serious Questions Facebook video, and you'll see how much I enjoy it. But yeah, I very much enjoy it. I enjoy sharing the people up in your, and I hate to word it this way, but the people up in your league that have the knowledge and want to get it out. That's what I wanted to do. I never wanted to be known as a guy who hosts a broadcast on Facebook and have a bazillion fans around the world, get recognized everywhere I go. No, that's not what I really wanted. What I really wanted was to latch on and find, hey, this person needs help getting shared. That person needs help getting shared. And this idea needs to be shared, and then group it all together. And I very much do enjoy it. We'll probably take on as much of the Ed McMahon sidekick role, Ed rest in peace, role as we can. And it has been a lot of fun. It's been an hour and 22 minutes, almost an hour and 23 minutes. I don't know what you have to do the rest of the day. I'm not pushing you off in any way. I appreciate the time that you make available every day. And I know that when you're not in front of the camera with me, you're probably reading 15 hours of 1 minute.
I'm reading right now. I'm reading right now. And here's why though. People don't know me, don't know you. And we get together and we're talking like this right now. Nothing hypothetical either. We talk the most prudent things that we can talk.
Right.
And I feel bad for some reasons if people think that I avoid them. And I want to stress to anybody out there that thinks I don't address everything. I either have repeatedly, and you missed these episodes, they're on YouTube. And I have another 100 hours to upload yet. I know I keep saying that, and I have gotten more up. But I do have that much time out there yet to upload. But again, like just now, I got a couple emails on certain things of what the COVID is, and the spike proteins, and the what do they call the RNA, the DNA, the change, the mechanisms that change it to create carriers from certain people. And these things I've covered overwhelmingly a lot. And I think Friday is going to be immensely big to touch base on some of these things again, to catch up to the people who asked us to do these things. Because it's not all about what's a thought on what I do. And I'm sure in your ways you will agree to this. It's really about what the people facilitate to us and put into our minds their opinions, their objectives, and their reasons for why they post what they post. They post it because this means something to them, and we have to stay focused in that element to keep their voices strong. So, Nancy, I did receive. I know it is a warfare. It's definitely I called it bio when it happened. I really did, just because the narrative of everything months ago. And I lost family over this. I truly did. They said, you are a total nutcase. We're all going to die. And it's like, no, it's not that bad. It's a controllable issue, but you got to be smart. You got to think smart. But I want to say to Nancy, thank you. I know you're listening when you do stuff like this. And I wanted to just put that out to her to let her know that I am going to talk more about it. But stay in touch with Tenpenny and Vaughn Bosch, the two most leading people. And there's plenty out there. But these are two key elements of the United States of America who really have this down pat, that know where we're going with it. Not to keep bringing up this miracle cure that is not a cure, but a method of other, which we now know, medical things that will definitely, and I hate to keep using the word, but it is in ways the future of population. I'm not putting the big capital D in front of that. I'm just saying of what we have of the population. So Nancy, thank you for that.
There were articles, there were groups on Facebook called Coronavirus Depopulation 2030. This guy, I forget his name. The group is still there. I don't think he's an admin of it anymore. He started it. That going back 2018, I don't know if it was there before, but he was plugging every post he could find that made it sound like it was an attempt to depopulate the world over 10 years. And all of that sort of disappeared all of a sudden.
I can't judge that as being wrong in any way. I can't, because I'll tell you what, the people that, in my mind, that truly needed to have these masks on through it all were the people that were sick.
Right.
You know, they needed to be contained. And we know that. And how does that make sense? Well, look what happened in the nursing homes.
Right.
All right. That tells you right there. Forced population and a narrative such as that was the ailment of death. That was the whole thing. When you separated people, kept them in their homes and kept the masks, the world was much better, wasn't it? It wasn't the people out living. It was the people who were positive to it or didn't even know if they were positive, because these test swabs are more of a DNA sample. Yeah. You giving a DNA sample so once you get the shot, they could monitor what this shot did to you and how they could modify it and give you boosters to keep the path of that Georgia Guidestone thing that's going on in the world as truth. And that is the truth. It was a way for them to mechanically change the structure of this VAX as we know it, so they could continue with their plan. That was the purpose of the boosters, to boost anything to keep that plan moving forth.
So then the question becomes, we all got, well, those of us that I know you
you got it. I know you got it.
Right. I've been honest and open that I did it. You know, my people tell me that my reasons are full of BS and whatever. My wife teaches in the public schools. If I get it, then she has to get tested. And if she gets it, then she's out of work for 10 days. I'm not sure if it's paid. I'm on Social Security disability. My wife teaches on what almost amounts to about a part-time work schedule. So I mean, our income is dependent on it. I make monthly trips to my 84-year-old mother, even though she's been vaccinated. Originally, I don't think she was going to. But I'm just saying, so I've been vaccinated. My question was, because they have my DNA, are they testing my DNA?
Because here's the
to see if I have it, and if I do have it, what are they doing? Because I haven't, since I got vaccinated, I haven't gone and been tested to see if I got it. I'm just figuring my arm drank the Kool-Aid and I'm not going to get it.
Well, to me, there's a download of information of everything you just said. And in a way, without you even knowing it. And I'm for whatever people choose. I'm not against you. I understand. But to me, they implanted to you already, and to your wife and to your family, the necessity of this.
My wife
And
did.
you,
Yeah.
you may not be able to sue these pharma companies because they're protected.
Right.
But if the hospitals and Walgreens and Rite Aids and all these drugstores and all these little stationette places that are popping up, and now at concerts you can get it, if they have any idea of truth of what this does, then they do become responsible for giving you this vaccine.
Well, see, that brings up an interesting question, only because I got mine over at Foxwoods Resort Casino, which is the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation,
Right.
even though it sits on land that is technically part of Connecticut. I got mine there. So basically, I was outside of the country when I got my vaccine. If something happened, would I have to sue them or?
Well, if they had any idea at all, that's where the truth is going to come out. The push of the narrative, as they're doing with the manufactured media and now radio and all these other ways, they're pushing it. It's just like, come with us, join in. Right. If you join in, you'll have America better than you ever had before. And to us, the people that refused it, the ones that wouldn't fall into it,
right,
are of a different caliber.
Right.
Are we the protected ones who will keep humanity alive in some facets? I don't know, but I'm that's my thought of it. Right. I think we are going to be the reign supremes of what they don't want on this planet. But here's the other issue. This, whatever they're giving, is not going to affect every DNA sample of structure of who you are, of your makeup of a person, of everything that makes you, from the molecules and everything else of who you are. It's not going to affect every single person on the planet, and they know that.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is just monitor how this situation was going to change. But I really feel that that's all falling apart. I feel that's falling apart. I think the narrative now for them is just to get you injected at any cost.
Right.
And we'll take what we got because our plan worked.
Right.
Okay. Even though their plan's falling apart in many other areas, they're being destroyed, they're being taken down, their assets are being seized. We know who they are. We know the big plan. We know the narratives of a lot of things. We know how the deep state falls into the government programs and out of the government programs. It's a monopoly game of just so much. There is so much in front of us, and it's hard to keep going with it. But I mean, when you get into the studies and so forth and what we've learned, many people were weakened by what you were already watching on TV and the narratives that they were pushing. What makes people make these choices for and against, I don't know. But we do know it's there, and it's still a forced mechanism, which then leaves your government open to liabilities.
Right.
Because they did not tell you the truth.
Right.
And they protected pharma before they protected your life.
This is true. Then jokingly in the I may turn into a 5G human transmitter. Could you imagine the coverage around the world if I was a 5G human transmitter of what we're broadcasting right now?
Yeah. Well, there might be a point to that if it wasn't for that ship being taken down with all those new chemicals to be sprayed in the air, which would have operated through a 5G mechanism. That might be something that we just unsure of.
Yeah.
At this point, because we know that a lot came on and off that ship. That wasn't done for no particular reason.
Right.
They knew to get that ship, and they did it. And they did it. And there again, more proof and validation of everything that we talk about, of what's happening, on this great planet. And we just need to save it and stay strong. A lot we're not going to ever have the answers to. But we have a lot of evidence, and we don't think about it all when we're sitting here to give great clarity to people. And these little tidbits that we do back and forth in these longer segments do spark our minds, and they do elevate us into a more promising platform of information for people. So no matter what we say, whether it's sometimes at a low point and sometimes at a higher greatness of information, we're doing a good job. we're just going to have to fight this the best we can. Again, I think it's all in a format of forced issues. People may not look at it that way because let's face it, doctors were even promoting it. I mean, they really were. And then they were refusing people surgery unless they had the vaccination. There's just so much out there that's going on, and the whole system, including the medical side and hospitals and more, and now these drive-through clinics. I mean, it's all about partaking in pharma and whatever makes pharma more wealthy, because pharma gives back to the healthcare systems in ways. And it's a great support mechanism. Even pharma controls Facebook as far as fact checking and many other organizations. But pharma is one of the biggest money supporters to Facebook Zuckerberg, who is now putting all these, this is not COVID information. It's not partly false COVID information.
Right.
But if a guy puts up, I got the shot and I've been sick for days, they don't touch him.
Right. They don't want you to see that because they want you to go out and get the shot. Now, by the same token, I got the shot. It's been almost a month. Any side effects that people talk about, that people I know that have got the shot I haven't had any. Any side effects, just haven't had any. And this is the bad time of year for pollen, and I'm allergic to anything that generates pollen, so I'm stuffed up, and my voice sounds like sandpaper year round anyway. So I wouldn't know. But
I wouldn't either, brother.
But again, I am going to say this has been Waking Up with Michael and Dave. Generally, now that we seem to have gotten it figured out, 9:50 a.m. Monday through Friday. Michael does 10 o'clock talks. The upload at 8 o'clock. It goes over to YouTube. Michael, you'll have to tell me if it goes anywhere else. I know that you do have a flow of people that do the same kind of broadcasts and things that you do that are around the world, that share it around the world. If you put it on Facebook,
amazing too.
It's almost around the world anyway. That's why I think most of us are doing it on Facebook.
But it's an amazing thing, this journey for me. It really has been. And one day you'll have to ask me who I am and why I got here.
No, I don't want to know that.
Well, it's actually important because
Do you work for the company?
Nah. Hey, actually, I'm going to have to cut out. I'm going to get an important call here.
Okay.
I want you to say goodbye to everybody for me. Let me do this.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right. We'll let Michael. Says he has to take the call. I don't mean.
Hold on. I'm live streaming around the world. Hold on.
All right.
Hey, I got a guy on the phone that's telling me I'm going to be rich tomorrow.
All right. Well, you take that then, Michael. I'm going to blow you out. 9:50 tomorrow morning. I'll send you the link somewhere around 9:35. We'll make sure we're set and ready to go. If we are, we will be live at 9:50. I'm not sure that I can be a part of the 8 o'clock live tonight. I don't think I'm going to be home.
I'm not doing tonight, brother. I'm doing it tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
People of America and global, from the 10, we love you guys. Stay strong. You're all warriors. Keep the support going. Keep with your family, the love, the light. Do what you need to do. We're all here for you. Dave, cut me off so I can take this call. It's really important.
Michael, we'll do it. We'll do it again tomorrow.
No, really. I'm sorry.
All right. Michael has been cut. So he'll do the phone call that he has to take. Let's see. We're coming up on 1 o'clock. It's been about an hour and 40 minutes, which is about as long as we want to go. When we do it, again, it is Waking Up with Michael and Dave and you. It will start at about 9:50 Monday through Friday that Michael can do it. There was going to be Serious Questions Facebook with Micah Angelo, which was going to start at 12 noon, and unfortunately this ran later. So I will attempt to reach out to Micah, and if he wants to do it, we will launch it shortly. If not, we'll try to find another time. Friday morning is going to be Serious Questions with Jen Woodruff and I at 11 o'clock Eastern time, which is 9 o'clock Central time, where Jen is. Micah, if you're out there watching, you're more than welcome to try to be the third camera slot on that one. I'm told I get 6 with StreamYard at this level, but I believe I only get 3. If I upgrade, I get 10, but we're not quite ready to do the upgrade. Again, anybody who is watching or watches this once it's posted as a podcast, if you have something you would like to do that fits the conservative patriot narrative, please let me know, and I will plug you into the appropriate time, either a Wake Up with Michael and Dave renamed at 9:50 to 11. If Michael is not available one morning, if I'm not available, Michael will normally do the 9:50 to 11 o'clock by himself, so that I will come back on with something either in the 12 noon hour or later, sometimes around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Share this. Invite your friends to watch it. Please post comments on those posts. I go back and read all the comments everywhere. I share the show. Michael shares the show. If you watch it and enjoyed it, please share the show. Comments can always be made during the show. Thank you, Lucy, for the comments you made. I see Missy Baummuller, my cousin, is watching. Everybody say prayers and be nice, because Missy's daughter, my cousin, is getting married very quickly. I'm bad with dates. Very quickly. So best thoughts for Missy and her husband Rob and the daughter that is getting married, and being a grandparent, which I know Missy is, and I have become, as our sons have children, and all of that. And I will tell you that there's nothing better than being a grandparent, because in my head, that's what it was all about. Be raised by your parents, become a good person, go out into the world, meet someone, create a family, and do it all again. And that's what it's all about. It's all about family. So again, if you're on Facebook and you see that Waking Up with Michael and Dave and You at 9:50 is live, please come and join us. Share it. Invite your friends. If you see it as a podcast because you missed the live, share it. Invite your friends. And we will go from there. So now, from the Boogie Dome here in Plainfield, Connecticut, it is 1 o'clock straight up. I'm going to turn me off and send you back to Facebook. Again, if you want to do something, message me on Messenger. Give me as much of an idea of what you want to do and when you want to do it. And Missy, I'm expecting to hear those ideas from you very quickly, and we'll get you plugged in. Could even be the time of a boogie with the bowl if there's nothing planned. Please do go by the Dave Woven page at some point and watch my Serious Questions Facebook video, which was a impromptu rant to Facebook about using the community standards violation to censor Facebook, as well as ragging on Facebook about a bunch of other things, and asking Mark Zuckerberg or a representative who can speak for him to join me, and maybe one day they will, and we'll have a public dialogue. So anyway, 101 from the Boogie Dome here in Plainfield, Connecticut. It's been my pleasure to have you here. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:50 for Michael and I, and possibly later this afternoon for Michelangelo if he's around. Micah, if you're not available later this afternoon, like I said, tomorrow, Friday morning at 11 o'clock is Jen Woodruff scheduled to be here. That may be dependent on what happens with the Friday morning wake up with Michael and you and me and everybody watching. So once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.